Okay, good morning, everyone. Today I'll be presenting WordPress Hooks. So I'll give you just a brief introduction because it's more technical, so you can decide to go further to explore the field. So what is this presentation about and who are the audience? Well, everyone can benefit from this, especially if you've ever tried to develop a website with WordPress before. If you are a seasoned developer, regardless of where you are from, Python, JavaScript, you can as well benefit from this course. And everyone, like I said, it will provide you a knowledge about WordPress, one of the most important facets, which is hooks. Though it's not just for a beginner WordPress developer, you have to have a foundation with PHP. Okay, then what is this hooks I'm talking about? This WordPress hooks, according to Tom, a WordPress and PHP developer, it says that it enables you to hook into part of the WordPress page lifecycle to retrieve, insert, or modify data. Or it also allows you to take certain actions behind the scene. Okay, what does it actually mean? WordPress, as you all know, is a simple way to build websites. So if at any point in time you're tired of the default look of WordPress, you want to customize it to your own look, you need to go further to install plugins. Not just installing plugins, sometimes the plugins does not give you a lot of customization you need. Probably the plugins you are using is having some certain limitations and you need to hack into the plugin or probably do some editing of the code to suit your own need. That's why I said hooks is meant for those that have at least limited knowledge in PHP. So this WordPress hooks enables you to gain access to the life cycle of a WordPress website. A WordPress gives you a default looking website that is not always attractive. So you need to go ahead to customize, probably to give colors and other things like that. But what if you don't want your default home page to be the one provided by you by WordPress, and you want to create a different page as well as make it the home page, or probably you are using a theme and you don't want this theme to look this way. You want the heading, but you don't want the footer. So this WordPress hooks can enable you to go into the coding of the theme and try to customize your own header or your footer. So WordPress hooks is just another upper edge. If you are a WordPress developer, you have the potential to achieve lots of functionalities if you are using WordPress hooks. Then why WordPress hooks? What are some benefits of WordPress hooks? First thing is to customize plugins to change display and functionality. Fine, lots of plugins are out there with WordPress. For example, if you want to be able to like a page, or you want to be able to allow comments in your blog, your WordPress blog, you can simply install a plugin that is meant for comments. That alone is not sufficient for a robust website. What if you want the look of the comment box to look probably at the upper edge, and the only default position is at the lower edge? So for you to be able to achieve that, you need to have foundation of WordPress hooks. So having this knowledge of hooks and how it works will enable you to be able to hack into the theme and do some manipulation so as to display it where you want. And honestly, by default, WordPress is created without an intention of you adding HTML, CSS, or JavaScript. All you need to do is just to drag and drop. But what if you want to make the look a little bit different and you want some animations and a lot of things like that that is not provided by default by WordPress? Yes, that is where you need hooks. So it as well extends themes. Like I said, WordPress themes, it extends. If you are using a theme that just gives you that, okay, it's a must that you must always have your blog post at the top of the page, or probably it's a must that you must always have a red color background as the page color. So if you don't know how to go ahead and try to manipulate these things with hooks, you will just be stuck and you always recognize WordPress website. You should go to some site, you know this site is for WordPress because most of them always have something similar, especially if this particular developer does not have the experience about hooks and how to go and change some looks and feel by way of programming. So it as well helps you in team and plugin development. Team and plugin development is another lucrative career in WordPress field. You can not just be a WordPress developer, you can as well opt into creating teams in WordPress where other developers can purchase your team, or probably they can as well extend your team. So if you are able to know how hooks works, you should be able to create a team and publish on WordPress for other people to buy or probably to use, as well as plugins, because hooks, like I said, is just all about how these WordPress sites are being built. Yes, it's the PHP, the logic behind it. So if you have this experience on how to work with hooks, you should be able to go ahead to develop teams as well as plugins. And it also provides you with the ability to change the WordPress core code. Like most of the projects I've seen in WordPress, which I've worked on, I almost always change the code because I don't like the way it looks. The default looks is not nice. So because I have knowledge of hooks, I'm able to go ahead and change it the way I want. So a lot more benefit includes, you're able to include files like PHP files into your WordPress page. And instead of you always using the default WordPress editor, the drag and drop editor you are giving, you can as well have a development environment where you can type in your code and do some logics into your WordPress page. All these are made available because of WordPress. So there are two types of hook. Basically, we have action hook and filter hook in WordPress. So let me go through the basics. Filters is a type of WordPress hook. And what is it? What does it do? Well, it enables you to apply changes to content or data in your WordPress. For example, if you want to change the homepage of your WordPress, and normal, you just have maybe welcome to WordPress and this is my site, this is what I do, this is what and you want to just be able to change the entire content. The hook you'll be using is filter hook because it just enables you to be able to replace some text by what you want to be there. So filter hooks works that way. It as well, okay, it has some functions. For you to be able to achieve that, there are two functions basically. We have the apply filter. It is a hook. Apply filter, anywhere you see it in your WordPress team, it's telling you that, okay, fine, what you want to do is you want to be able to give this developer or this WordPress user ability to be able to change the content of a particular page or a particular function. So anywhere there's apply filter, it means that it is giving you ability to change the content of that particular page or functions or so. So we have the action as well. Like I said, WordPress hooks are divided into filters and action. So if filters are meant for changing content, changing data on the page, or probably media files, actions is all about logic. Yes, at any point in time in your WordPress life cycle, you want to be able to perform some action. Probably when the homepage load initially, you can say you want to be able to send notification to a user the moment he or she loads the homepage. Yes, you need to look for a hook that works immediately a page is being loaded. Or if you want to say you want to send email after a user registered or login into your website, there's another hook that says perform action after login. All these are hooks. So you're able to now perform sending emails, congratulations notes, and other things using all of these action hooks. So to achieve that, just like filter, we have some functions that are very, very useful when it comes to action hooks. The first one is do action. Do action is a hook, like I said. It's meant for actions, basically. It's telling you that in this particular life cycle of the WordPress, you are able to customize your code. You're able to determine how you want it to work. Like a good example is You can always find do action the moment a user logged in into the website. So you are able to redirect the user to a page you most prefer. So there can be a do action after a user register on your website. That do action can be called action after registration. Yes, that do action now, you now need to embed your own code of what should be performed after that action take place. So this is the function that enables you to do that, the do action function. Then if you now want to add your own function as a WordPress user or a developer, you use the function, the add action. Add action is meant for the user, while do action is meant for the WordPress developer who designed that theme or that plugin for you. Yes. So now we have, okay, let's see how it works. How does the apply filter works? Like I said, the apply filter, well, I actually said that this course is meant for those who have pre-knowledge with PHP. You need to be good in PHP before you're able to customize any page or do any theme logic or maybe plugin manipulation in your WordPress page. So if you are good with PHP, you should know that PHP syntax for performing, for function is like this. You need to give the name of the function, and inside a parenthesis, it has a series of arguments. So this apply filter we're having here, we said anywhere you see apply filter, you are being granted access by the WordPress team developer for you to be able to probably change the content of that particular page or change the content of that particular function. So anywhere there's an apply filter in your WordPress code, it's indicating that fine, you can add your action. So sorry, you can add a filter, which means you can change the content. It has 3 parameters. It has the tag, which is the tag is basically the name of the filter. Now, this apply filter has many tags depending on what you want to achieve. So if, for example, you want to redirect, you want to change the link to the redirection page after login, that tag can probably be named redirection after login. That will be the argument in this first entry here. Now, this content is what is going to change the moment that WordPress user add a field that is having the same tag. So this content is the target that will be changed. Now, the third parameter is the argument. This third parameter tells you what are those arguments that are allowed for that particular tag of this filter. So if you are to add any filter, then you need to be aware of all of these things. You need to know the tag first. You need to know arguments are allowed for this particular filter you want to hook into in your WordPress lifecycle. Okay, fine. We also have do action. This apply filter, like I said, is basically meant for changing the content of any page or probably any parts of your WordPress lifecycle you want to change. You want to replace what is already there. If you want to replace the home page by something different, a custom HTML you've defined yourself, you can use the apply filter for that. Now, this do action is basically for the action hook. The action hook, okay, the action hook, like I said, is meant to perform any action at any point of the WordPress lifecycle. Probably the moment the user is logging out, or if the user decided that he upload the profile picture, now something should happen after the upload is complete. So that is where the action takes place. Action is all about logic, while filter is all about content, changing of content. So we have okay, hard filter action. I said something like that before. Now this is the function. When you want to hook into any of those, either filter or action, you need to define a function. Now the syntax for defining the function is a normal syntax that any WordPress follows, which is the function keyword followed by the name, then the arguments, then you, in this output, you have the content, how it wants it to be. then you return it. Now, the moment you define your function, for you to be able to hook into that particular action, you use the hard action. The hard action parameter is what you are going to use. Then, most importantly, you specify the particular tag. Now, this tag must have been provided by the WordPress developer at the first place. Then when you specify where it is going to, you need to call the function, action function, you need to call it. And the last parameter is known as the priority. Now, at what time do you want it to perform? Do you want it to happen immediately, or do you want it to happen maybe later in the future? So that is how you define your function. Then using this hard action, you are able to hook into the action. You are able to hook into the life cycle of your WordPress action hook. What am I saying in conclusion? What hook is meant for someone who has knowledge of PHP. Without that, you are not able to do anything on your team. You are not able to manipulate because it's a lot of PHP codes and things like that. You need to be able to have this knowledge if you want to create a more robust WordPress website that performs lots of logic and things like that. So that is what this presentation is all about. I don't know. Oh, thank you very much. If you have any question before I ask the question, if there's time.
Okay, you have time to take just one question. Does anybody have any question?
Yes, I do. So, like,
Right.
how do you get started with the hooks? Like, how do you get it on WordPress in the first place? Like, after you install like your plugin and you already have like the contents you want to customize, how do you get started with the hooks?
Yes, before you are able to start working with hooks, you must be able to have access to the file management of your WordPress project. Like I said, you need to be able to have all those files, because this hooks is all about you going into there and into your own code. So you need to have access to where your file is being hosted. So when you have all those files, because you are good in PHP, you are able to now start adding those hooks. Your normal WordPress editor, you don't have access to that. You just need to have access to, will I say, your file manager, or will I say, your, how will I put it? Your host should have a cPanel, yes, a cPanel where your project files are hosted. Please, did I answer your question?
No, it's not. But you started, but you didn't finish.
Thank you to today's presenters. So come to the end of today's session. Thank you.